What up, Eric? Was debating holding off streaming till later, but I keep remembering there's a lot we have to do. So, sitting around and not doing it, not helping. Ugh. My struggle to try to figure out a Zangor heavy detachment that works in 11th is not exactly working out. Specifically, I wanted to try to make a detachment that was like bulk Zangor enlightened, but I think I need to like use all 80 of my Zangor on foot. I don't know. What's up, Peacock? I think I lost a couple of my bags of dice. I don't know where they went. I took them to the store yesterday for the game that I played, and then when I looked through my bag, I didn't see them, and then I looked over on the table where I'm pretty sure I'd put them down, and they weren't over there. So I think someone might have taken a chunk of my way too many dice. Oh, nice. Oh. Let's actually get to it, I guess. Kick on some music for the Twitch people. And yeah. Reposition some of this. Hit the microphone where it needs to be. Yeah. So this is kind of the worked up general gist for Typhus. And we're trying, now that we've seen kind of the end game, to get these guys through all the steps. So the main thing we're doing right now is getting the base brown down on all the parts that are fabric, which get turned into this sort of like dulled and weird flesh tone. So we're basically just slowly getting through that now. So yeah, I want to, like, I have in my head for 11th, I have a bunch of ideas for, like, the list that I know will work. And I just want, like, a fun list, man. Like, I want a list where I'm going to show up to an event and have people at it be like, what the hell? Which is why I wanted the Zangor Enlighten list with the Mutalith Vortex Beasts, but I still feel like Mutalith Vortex Beasts underperform. Like, they just do. Really, like if I'm gonna shoot that one blast attack at a Space Marine squad, on average you kill like one Space Marine with it. It's, I don't know. It's just not worth, man. Their flamethrower isn't good enough for like Overwatch purposes. And their aura being 6 inches from them doesn't feel good. Enlightened with bows, though, those still feel pretty good. And there's value in having the 18-inch lone op versions or the +1 hit versions. Kind of works. I still gotta figure it out though. I'm most likely just gonna work on my Hex Warp one. I think I need. I'm either okay with the Sectars I have, or I need 2 more boxes. Because I want to do Hex Warp with Sectar, I think. Because then the Sectars get the +1 to wound on all of their attacks, which is pretty ridiculous. We have to get some more theory crafting in. But anybody get a bunch of games in for 11th? I'm noticing a lot of the criticisms of it is down to the flow of competitive involving having to make a map for your matchup, which kind of sucks because technically making maps for matchups is a better way to like do it, because then the maps can be differently balanced based on what your list might end up being, so that you don't see, oh, all the layouts heavily favor melee, all the layouts heavily favor ranged. Instead, you actually get like a nice spread of possibilities. Because there were some of the old maps that were straight up just like, do you have a ranged army? You win. Middle objectives never got any cover. It was horrible. I do think one of the things that's going to happen now with 11th, though, is specific units, just like always. I mean, this happens every time. But specific units from every army are going to be the must-takes, regardless of any, like, detachment possibilities, really. Like, I genuinely feel like if you have an even remotely okay Terminator, like Chaos Space Marine Terminators, Thousand Sun Terminators, pretty much all Death Guard Terminators. If you have a decent type of Terminator, you have to take it. They survive so easily into so much stuff. Their punching power is actually incredible in a lot of the armies, like the Chaos Space Marine ones that get dev wounds on the combi weapons with like tons of rerolls and stuff. The lethal hit potential on Thousand Sun Terminators with massive amounts of rerolls and +1 to hit. Like, there's just too much. There's too much potential in those squads to not take. So, like, even in the Zangor-focused detachment I played, had I taken Scarab Occult Terminators, even without any of the other bonuses they would have had, they still would have just been a force to reckon with. Pop down, do your work, kill everything, and then just not care anymore. And that's just how they live. I think we're going to see the same thing with Space Wolf Terminators. We're going to just see it everywhere. Anyone that has a Terminator, you're probably going to need it, unless it's kind of like a mid Terminator, right? Like, there's not enough defensive properties and there's not enough wounds in a Emperor's Children Terminator squad. So there's probably reason to avoid them. And then honestly, there's not enough offensive power in that Terminator squad either. But like with a lot of things right now resting on being able to manipulate ballistic skills and hit ratings, if you can do that for a Terminator squad in any situation, you're having too good of a time. I do also think movement is going to be way more important in this current edition. Finding ways to see people without giving full vision of your characters is going to be way too strong. And honestly, I think the new cover rules and stuff actually negatively affect the Zangor Enlightened pretty hard. Because the Enlightened themselves can't be in cover necessarily. Like, the idea I had for the detachment I picked was to try to keep some demons nearby, which is why I had the Screamers. You get that 14-inch move. You can kind of be wherever you need to be. And then you try to keep a Demon Prince relatively close to the squad. That way they can get cover regardless of if they're on a, like, point or not. But I think, I don't know. I think there's a level to what I built where it's like, oh, I needed more Demon Princes. Like, I needed one more on-foot Demon Prince. Because you have to design for the missions you're going to do. And if I have one Demon Prince, I can't give all of my Enlightened built-in stealth. Which I thought wouldn't be a problem, because he should probably be following around the Enlightened with spears to give them stealth. And then the Zangor Enlightened with Lone Op 18 can just kind of sit back and not care. But man, did it not work. So we gotta look into it, man. We gotta figure it out. Because I really do just want that fun detachment, man. We'll just have to make some assessments. Because we honestly might be living in a world where I just, no matter what list I take, I have to take like 1 or 2 DPs with wings just to get some mechanics done and drop them up 6 inches from people. Or whatever the new rule for that is. Have them wreak havoc on people's backlines. There's probably just no reason not to. It's difficult, man. Anyone out here ordering the terrain boxes? Part of me is debating actually picking up that full terrain box. The pre-paint one, just to get it. Get it and be done with it. Take it over to my buddy's house whenever we're ready to play. don't know. I don't want to play the unfun list all the time. I do want to get some practice in on it, though. Both the Emperor's Children version and the Thousand Suns version. Kind of want to test some things. Yes, these are the Horus Heresy models, for those wondering. My buddy was looking around at different types of units he could run for certain types of leaders, and he saw the Horus Heresy ones. And was like, yep, we're doing that. I'm going to rock out some Horus Heresy. Back when most of them were clean armor, no mutation. That was his first introduction to resin models. I need to look around at a ListForge site. Part of me thinks that anytime you go bulk Zangors, you have to take Magnus or something. Like, you have to offset the low cost with some big hammer unit that's just going to murder everything. Because it can't be MVBs. If you're going to take an MVB, you only really want, like, one or two, and then that one just goes to an expansion spot and sits there. And maybe it does, like, cool stuff if it can see things, but if not, it just sits there. Like, I don't know what else to do with that. I don't want to spam Magnus. Quick reminder to everyone in chat, if you're ever painting and building your models and you want to be pretty good with it, always, always, always sub-assemble your goddamn capes. Always, always, always. This is always the worst part of painting fully assembled units, is having to get into this BS little crevices. Cracks and rolls. At the very least, if you know enough about your model where you're like, the cape's not that close to the body, don't glue them to their base. Just don't. So this last week, before this week, was the new anime season arcs. New anime seasons. Finally get to see a new crop of things to possibly try to watch. There's not a lot. Honestly, there's not a lot. There's an interesting slice of life one. Like a weird slice of life one that for some reason is very satisfying to watch. It's the one about the snake spirit that lives in the mountains and the kids that hang out with her. And she's like this bitter old cursed spirit. And the kids are just kind of like Zoomers. And it's so weird to watch. So I'm probably going to keep watching that one. Because the entire first episode was just this thing telling these kids like deep weird stories about how she was like betrayed and killed by the villagers back in the day, and that's what made her an evil spirit that killed all of the people who backstabbed her. Going over all the gory details of how they held her down and chopped off her legs and stuff. Like, it was brutal. And then the kids were just like, sucks. Like, it's like so Zoomery. Let me pull up the AniDB, because I rarely remember names of animes now. Because they're always weird. Like, nowadays animes are just like, the return to my basic life being a farmer in a fantasy realm. Like, whole title. It's not, I don't know why animes are just doing the whole like, oh, we're going to say what it does on the tin. Let's see what we got from last week. Nothing Monday. Tuesday. I thought there was something interesting that came up for Tuesday. Guess not. Wednesday. was something. No. So is it Thursday and beyond? Because there were like 5 animes I watched where I was like, maybe. Wait, why did none of these? Oh, here it is. So that's a Thursday anime. Called Reiwa no Dara-san. Or Dara-san of the Reiwa era. Because, yeah, she's just a big snake monster. Hanging out with kids who can see her. It's just too weird. Like, it's just a weird slice of life. What was another good one? So that's Thursday. What popped off Friday? I saw a bunch of people talking about Yanni Neko. I haven't looked at that yet. There's an anime, though, that popped up that I think might be... Dude, I don't know. It's called The Exiled Heavy Knight. It's an isekai, so we're already in, like, negative territory for how to make a simple anime, just trying to make the main character feel connectable because it's, oh, he's from our world kind of situation. But, that being said, the animation in The Exiled Heavy Knight, I don't know how else to describe it other than it almost feels like AI generated. Like, I don't think it is, but all the scenes are very ADHD. Like, if you're familiar with how AI video works for people who are trying to make, like, movies with it, they can't do long scenes because the scenes kind of have a window where it's like, oh, this makes sense, right? Like, there's a short period of time where what you're seeing is the facial features, the action, and everything that makes sense. And then if it cuts to a scene of someone who doesn't pay attention to that after the fact, you see someone who's, like, just blank face, right? Like, they have no emotion, nothing. And then immediately they go from, like, that to, like, smiling and then doing something else and talking. And it's really jarring feeling. But it can only do it for small bursts. And this anime, almost all the scenes are like maybe 5-6 seconds long. And they're ridiculously animated. Like, cameras spinning around characters in wild ways while things are happening. But it's only ever batches of 6 seconds. And sometimes it feels weird. Like, the whole intro to it involves a bunch of characters you're seeing fight, but, like, their fighting makes no sense. Like, the world around them is spinning when they aren't, but then they start spinning with it late. Like, it's just very weird to watch. You'll have to look up some video, because I don't want to, I'm not just going to show video on live stream for this thing. It's something's off about it, I think. I want to look into it, because it's kind of cool. The story's kind of cool. It has a little bit of Tate no Yusha in it, but, like, it's, I don't know. It feels like they kind of just phoned it in, maybe, in some regard. What was this one? I don't think I watched this one yet. No. Alright, so that's Friday, I think? Yeah, it's Friday. So, Heavy Night Friday. Oh! Kaiju Girl. Kaiju Girl, was it Karamelis? I like it. It's funny. It's funny. High school students, it's like a love anime between a character that's kind of like the weird outsider in class, but then, like, the popular guy likes her. But it turns out if she can't control herself, she basically turns into Godzilla. And everyone, like, she's trying to hide that from everyone in the school. It's kind of funny. At least the first episode was funny. We'll see if it keeps going. I always try to give these things 3 episodes before I'm just like, nope. Which, for instance, on Friday as well, we've got The Frontier Lord begins with 0 subjects, which, I don't know. It started as a fun idea, but it's just rapidly running a little too quickly towards, like, oddity. Like, the way the story is paced and written, with just the main character being kind of like a simpleton who's way too powerful at fighting. And then he just comes across people who are like, we hate your kingdom. And then a day later, the daughter of the head of the tribe is just like, I'm going to marry you. It's like, it's there. There's no in between. It's just like point A, point B, and like they're right next to each other. there's nothing that builds up to anything. It's just suddenly everything is just happening. And I don't know. It feels a little weird. What else was the other one? Sage of Wind. Sage of Wind might be okay. A subsect of isekai is the rebirth animes, where you're in a fantasy world, you get really powerful, and then you die. And then you get resurrected for whatever reason way later, and you still have all your power. And now you get to learn from that point forward. It's set up to be interesting, I think. We'll have to see how it is. The lead character has an extreme level of self-deprecation, though. So that's like a little bit annoying. Because the character is just constantly like, no, I'm not powerful. Meanwhile, casting the highest level spells possible. So it could be good. There was one, though, where the setup for it actually kind of sucked, in my opinion. Oh, I think it's a Saturday anime. Is it Saturday? No. Ooh, what's this one? I don't think I watched that one. That one's going in the box. Of course, the 3rd season of Jobless is in order. I have a love-hate relationship with Jobless. I think Jobless was set up really well, but you'd expect character growth, right? Like, guy bullied by everyone in school for years, breaks down, like, his life goddamn sucks, goes to New World, is very powerful. You'd think there'd be, like, a little bit of a difference to him than kind of, like, sort of a cocky little asshole who also just, like, cheats on his girlfriends and has kids with multiple women. Like, what? I get that, like, it has to just be a story for, like, the character, and it's like, all right, but, like, man, I fell out of it once, like, season 2 ended, because, like, that hit hard, what happened in season 2's ending, but to also feel like he hasn't grown at all as a person is still madness. Watch the first episode of Black Torch. That seems to be kind of like Fire Force-y, so like maybe that'll be okay for a little bit. Boo, boo, boo. They dropped season 2. Finally, after forever, of Skeleton Knight in Another World. Again, another isekai, so things working against it. I kind of like season 1 a little bit, but season 2, man, the whole first episode was just like, hey, this is going to be the rotation. They get into a fight. Everyone's fighting like they should, except he uses a spell or an ability that's way too powerful, and then all his friends have to dodge it because it's way too strong. And like that, they did that like 3 times in episode 1. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna watch that one. We'll give it another couple episodes, see if it maybe finds its path. What was the other good one? Or not a good one. There was a weird one. Oh my god. So there is a hentai anime out. When I say that, I mean it's basically a hentai, but it's an anime, kind of like what was it? Otherworld Brothel people. The reviewers, the Otherworld Brothel reviewer one. This one's about an exorcist who basically bangs spirits to cross over, to make them cross over. I watched episode 1 of it and I was like, I can't. I can't do it again. It's just, it'll be funny for someone, but like, I don't know. I don't really want to watch that. Ton of stuff comes out on Saturday though. Looks like Sunday. Sunday had something. Yet another isekai. Dude, how many years do we think it's going to take before isekai is no longer the predominant anime, like, go-to trope? World's Strongest Rearguard, Labyrinth, Countries, Novice Seeker. God, I hate these titles, man. They're so bland. That one looks interesting. Definitely, I think it's going to be a harem anime, though, because it's just like, specifically in the description, it's like, he's the strongest rearguard in an all-girl team. And it's like, okay. Alright. I see you. I see what you're doing. Where's the one that kind of started out interesting, but I think is going to be shit? There was one of them here. Oh, and then there was a new one that dropped, I think, today. Wait, where is it? So there's a season of an anime coming out where 3 heroes go to defeat the Demon King. They do, and then a bunch of demons start flooding at them. And one of them goes like, oh, you too, my other friends, you have families, go be with them, and puts up a giant wall, and he's like, I'll handle this. And then, of course, serendipity gives him an ability because he has an ability to learn other abilities that are used on him. So he learns an ability that allows him to heal and get mana back by just touching people. So he spends, and he also has like this other ability that he randomly describes where he's able to like go to sleep and fight while sleeping. So he does that for 10 years and eventually kills the Demon King by himself after 10 years. And in the act of doing so, he does it with his touch that heals and gives him mana back. And so it makes him like de-age 15 years or something. And he's like, oh, that was crazy. And he goes home. And he finds out all the 2 friends he left behind are like the king and the head of the Adventurers Guild. And he's like, oh, I'm going to start a life as just a regular adventurer, right? And there's a hint that one of the daughters of one of his friends is interested in him. Like, she sees him leaving the house and is like, ooh. Which, that feels very weird. Like, the focus of just like, oh yeah, your friend's daughter that he was talking to you about how she was like just born before he left. She's interested in you, in it for a relationship, and it's like, I don't know how I feel about that. These are weird, man. Like, a lot of these are just super weird. Oh, here it is. Friggin', I became a legend after my 10-year-long last stand. Yet again, another ridiculous title. It did have an okay first episode. As long as they don't focus on that or that becomes something different, it'll be funny. But I don't know. So there's at least like 5 or 6 interesting ones. Sadly, most of them are isekai of some kind. One of them's fantasy. That's probably why. Honestly, that's why the giant snake lady one probably appealed to me. Because it's just like slice of life with some fantasy. That's it. No one had to die and go to another world and become a god in a fantasy realm. Like, that didn't have to happen. It's just people hanging out, talking, having fun. to it. Enough distractions. Supposedly, I think it's next year. I did watch Restaurant in Another World. That's wait, hang on. I might be getting it confused. Is that the one where the door opens in another world and people come in from it and eat food, and then you learn their story and then they leave? Or is this the one where a guy goes to another world, finds out he's got like cooking skill level 1,000 or something, and he just starts cooking food there, and everyone likes it? Which one is that? It's the door that appears one, and then you find out later it only appears because a dragon managed to make that happen. And she keeps bringing it back because she likes the food. Yeah, and then he eventually meets someone who becomes his waitress. I mean, that's an okay. So I also don't understand why food anime took over, because that came out around the same time a ton of anime started just doing that thing where it was just like, all right, we're going through this really crazy story, but we're going to take a 10-minute break to show you extremely high quality illustrations of elaborate meals. Do you remember Log Horizon? Yet one of the like slightly less isekai. I mean, it was isekai, but it was slightly less because it felt a little more like Sword Art to a degree, where it was just like it's an actual world that they were all playing, and then they all got stuck in it and couldn't log out. Log Horizon Episode 1 established the parameters of the world they were now stuck in and actually made it kind of interesting. I think Season 2 hyper-focused on food. Like, out of nowhere. Because it was a thing, right? Like, all the food they ate tasted like nothing. So they had to actually learn how to cook in that world if they wanted to eat food that didn't taste like nothing. And then that entire series was just like the cat dude making food, and then it would just zoom in on the food in high quality, and it's like, look at the katsudon I made. Check out these incredible ingredients. The crunch of a pepper. It's like, all right, man, calm down. Someone in your animation studio has a fetish. I get it. Log Horizon lost me when they had to describe to me how a raid works. I get that not everyone played video games in the past, so you kind of have to describe to the fans of the series that didn't play video games that hard what a raid was. But I need you to understand that when most of your formative childhood and teenage years was running raids in games like World of Warcraft and stuff, to have to sit and watch an anime describe to me in detail what I did felt so bad. It felt so unbelievably bad. Yeah, but like I don't know if you needed to describe it, right? Like while it was happening, would it have been more interesting to watch the boss fight as an actual boss fight rather than have them narrate what a raid's like and then just kind of show images of the boss fight that eventually they just win? Like, Think of that. Imagine Dragon Ball Z, this the Namek saga, and it ends with someone narrating kind of how the fight went for them to turn Super Saiyan, and you're just looking at images of it. Like, that's what we got out of Log Horizon, where they were like, watch as they fight the Phoenix Lord of the dungeon. And it's this big fight against a giant phoenix, and they fail a bunch of times, and then they go back and try again. Which, that was wild to me, because wasn't one of the big things that they talked about in Log Horizon near the beginning? They talked about how if you die and come back, you lose memories of your life in the world. And everyone was just kind of like, yeah, this is fine. Let's just keep doing this raid over and over. There had to have been some level of, like, anger and annoyance there. Because if, like, your healer's messing up and that's why you're losing, your healer's also the reason you're losing your memories. Like, there had to have been some level of drama in all of that they just skipped over to be like, hey, by the way, this is how our raid works. I feel like we lost, like, a good story. I could have swore they said, like, the first group that died and came back in the town, they were questioning them because it was scary. They didn't know what would happen. And when they were questioning them, they started asking about their life outside, and they started, like, forgetting key parts. I thought that was one of the big things that occurred in Season 1 that made everyone like, oh, crap, we shouldn't die. We need to avoid it at all costs. I'm still waiting for, and I keep forgetting its name. There's supposed to be a Season 2 of that Otome game one. I think it's like Otome games are hard for mobs. There should be a Season 2 of that coming soon. Kind of looking forward to that. I thought I was going to hate that anime as yet another isekai, even though the setting was going to be slightly different than what you normally expect. But there's something so satisfying about an anime character dismantling tropes from animes and video games. It's good. Like, the twists are always fine. That's why I kind of liked Eminence and Shadow. And I think we're getting the movie next year, right? The movie that's supposed to finish the whole series up. A series they didn't expect to make a season 2 of. At all. God, my favorite part about that anime was whenever they would talk about, like, people other than Sid, and you realized that there was a whole ass other show going on, basically, that you weren't allowed to watch because it was Sid's story. This is all these deep, crazy things about that world, and people stealing histories from other beings, and a cult that makes monsters out of the original denizens of the world. And it's like, oh, this is such a cool idea, and you just never get to see it. Tentacle that I missed. There's a fly flying around. I got a gnat in my room because it's too goddamn hot. Is that a new season? I think I read that one. Or not read it, but like saw the description of it. There was one that's, I think, on episode 2 where the person that got brought into the world was like this very powerful fighter, but she just wants to be a maid. What is it about anime and maid culture? I know it's a thing. Like, I know it's like a thing, like a big thing. Oh, that's the one. Alright, this gnat needs to die. No. Well, that's the thing, right? Like, it's as a character trait, sure, they gave it to her, and now they're putting her through the ringer with it. But like, that's actually a thing. Like, beyond anime, beyond like that character believing in that trope, that's a thing, right? Like, don't they have conventions in Japan where people dress up as like high class maids and butlers? They have animes exclusively built around a maid or a butler that isn't a maid or a butler. They're always like something slightly different, like an assassin or a high class fighter. Like, they do it a lot. I remember when Genshin was coming out and people found out that one of the characters in it was a two-handed wielding maid. And everyone was just like, oh my god, it's the best thing ever. So hopefully these are good. Again, I usually give them 3 episodes to do something interesting. And if they don't, it just becomes like a rehash of a trope over and over and over again. I tend to just toss them aside and keep moving. Like, I need something big. Like, I need a big shift. Like, you remember the one, there was like, I think one isekai that I actually really started to enjoy. And it was the one where the depressed guy gets isekai'd. And his whole thing is just like walking around the world and like he's just massively depressed all the time. Writing poetry about dying and stuff and like wanting to hear people's stories because they're like sad stories and things. It has that one scene that's like very viral online if you like follow anime, of him rizzing up the demon lord by letting her kill him. Covered in blood, coughing it up. Are you happy now? Can you finally be happy? Yeah, he wants good stories. Good sad stories. Because he's a poet. That was funny. I love the hell out of that one. Need some of that in my life again. That was why I liked Tate no Yusha at the beginning, but man, did that just become a trope fest. That kind of sucks, man. Like, in a lot of storytelling and a lot of television writing and all that, is when they set up something to be incredible and you see the artifacts behind it. Like, you see all of it. And you're just like, whoa, this could be the greatest thing of all time. And then they basically just, like, lost Smog Monster that shit. It was purgatory the whole time. We're going to give you an unsatisfying ending. I love the hell out of that anime. Season 1 was, like, peak. And then it got so bad. You ever see Tate no Yusha? The Shield Hero? Like, dude, they set it up perfectly. Because as a character, his existence was very political in the world. Everyone hated it because the last one was, like, very sort of, like, against normality. So, like, people just assume all of the shield-bearing heroes are going to be that same type of person. They kind of hate that about him. So they tried to, like, destroy his existence before he even got started. Lying about him and stuff. You find out that the religion built around the heroes is actually more there to manipulate society than anything else. And then eventually you find out that the thing they were brought there to defend against is actually, like, crazy. Like, properly crazy. Because if they do properly defend against it, there's, like, a separate world to their own that will die if they succeed. So, like, them winning means a whole entire other world loses. And it's just so much crazier. It was such a good idea, and then they just turned it into tropes. When I brought this up on Twitter, I did get someone, like, normally when I tweet, no one cares, right? Like, I just put out a tweet, and it's just like, cool. I never really get replies or responses all that much. But when I put up, like, hey, new anime seasons, maybe I can find something I actually like this time. It's still in my brain that almost immediately after someone was like, have you ever seen Bleach? It's like, what? have I ever seen one of, like, maybe the top 15 or 20 most popular and consistent animes in existence? That's just a shonen? Be like, have you ever heard of My Hero Academia? It's like, yes. I don't think you can go anywhere. Like, the moment, like, the word anime is said, someone appears behind you in a Bleach cosplay and is like, what up, man? Like, you're made to know that anime if you even get even remotely close to it. Like, I don't even think you can get, like, the passport into the realm of anime without knowing about that anime. And, like, 10 others in particular. Oh, have you ever seen Cowboy Bebop? Let me give you a niche one. Dragon Ball Z. Like, what? What? I'm out here talking Ergo Proxy. I'm out here talking freaking Paranoia Agent. Monster with one of the greatest protagonists of all time in all of anime. Who's messaging me on Steam? This better be a Jerry Truck Seller meme. If you haven't watched Jerry Truck Seller videos, watch a Jerry Truck Seller video. Take it upon yourself. It is! It's a Jerry Truck Seller meme. Oh, day is made. Alright, this gnat needs to die. Holy shit. What off-brand, non-mainstream anime have you watched where you're like, holy crap, this is it for me? This is my steez. I'm trying to think of a truly off-brand one. Because I know a lot of the ones in my head, like, I know a lot of people don't know them, but they were technically kind of mainstream, like Pumpkin Scissors and stuff like that. They were kind of mainstream, especially for their day. I feel like Gun X Sword would be the closest to an off-brand, even though I think they were trying to make it a mainstream. I feel like Now and Then, Here and There was also mainstream. Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere. God, anime names were so much cooler back in the day. We need a return to that form, man. Somebody's got to get in there and stop people from making the titles like these 30 word paragraphs of exactly what you're about to watch. Working in a food kiosk in another world. That's a petition.com thing I would sign. Make better titles, damn it. actually kind of sad Gate didn't get a third season. I feel like they were just getting interesting at the bottom of second. Like, they throw some cool stuff out in season 1. They started talking about some interesting things in season 2. And I get that most anime is just meant to try to get you to go actually read the light novels or the manga. Like, on average, they don't really plan to be around for all that long. It's more like a advertisement to get people to actually read the books. That's where the real money's made. Kind of like the idea of Gate, though. We're actually very close to being done this. Which kind of sucks, because then I gotta go back over the exact same stuff. Because we gotta do the flesh toning. Follow-up step to that is, I think we're going to do the trim work across all of them. That's going to be psychotic. Getting the brass on. And then once the trim work's done, we can get the minor details like the bug arms and the horns and stuff. Talons, claws, teeth. I wonder if the ITC or whoever's running 40K tournaments is going to eventually establish layouts that are just like set. There's got to be something like that that's going to happen here soon. There's no way people at ITCs are happy with the idea of having to change maps every single match. On average, games are supposed to last 3 hours, and they just made one part of the game take way longer. And it's not even the part where you're playing. And I honestly don't think there's an ITC in the world that's going to want to have like 4 tables set up for every single person to have to pick one of 4. Pretty sure there's no fabric or skin or leather on the Defiler. Well, when I say skin, I mean like this kind of skin. I already did the flesh toning for it, the demon flesh. I feel like at least 40% of my brain power right now is being used to try to figure out what I can do to a Zangor list, and I hate it. I shouldn't need to think this way. I think mechanically I need to just have 3 spear squads be 3-man spear squads. I never get to use my full spear squads. Like, I never get to use them. They always get charged before I charge. I just don't have enough trade units. Figure out trade units. Because I do genuinely feel like the gist of oh god, am I losing my train of thought? But like the gist of what would make a Zangor list work is to just overload the front line with them. Which you can't do with Enlightened. I wonder, like, I don't know. I definitely need heavy hitters. on the other side of the Zangors. I just don't know what they need to be. Like, is it Sectars? Nah, I think I need the heal detachment with it. I don't think the Sectar detachment helps as much. And then I honestly should probably lean into some Forge Fiends. Probably a squad of Terminators. I mean, that's just gonna have to happen. I have to give in. Just get some Terminators on the field. Pound for pound, point for point. There's really nothing better. Still just doesn't feel like a fun list, though. Some point here, I would like the MVB to not be like underpowered when I use it. I kind of want one moment with it, you know, where you put it on the middle of the field and it actually makes a good chunk of its invulnerables and most of its feel no pains. Because yet again, I feel like I lost it to basic attacks. Just some simple attacks killed it. I feel like I always overestimate its durability. Makes me sad. Hell yeah. My buddy told me there was a website that compiled a bunch of information from BCP in terms of like, oh, what did I? Oh, I didn't paint it. I didn't get this guy. In terms of like lists and stuff. I kind of need to find it. I found one, but it didn't track like recent stuff. It's called like List Reactor or something. I need to start comparing ideas, seeing what people are coming to as conclusions. Because when I try to compartmentalize the different types of squads and units you could possibly get for your armies, and whenever I think Enlightened with Spears, I can only seem to think of them as like things that go to objectives to hold them or do other missions. They're, I think, less expensive than Chaos Spawn, but they're also less durable. But they have way more OC. So there's a bit of a trade-off there. And now that they can fly over walls, there's a little bit more value to them. Because a squad of 3 Spear Enlightened are 6 OC, but we also then have to suffer the issue of they won't have hidden or stealth. They get cover if you can put them in specific places, but they won't get it from just being on the mat. Whereas Chaos Spawn do. So, like, I don't know what the trade-off is there to make them good. I just feel like they're a complete waste at this point. Like, charge mortals on 4-ups with 3 guys doesn't feel good. That's like 1 mortal. I don't know. Anyone do anything fun over the holidays? I know it's more of like a U.S. centric holiday, but I don't know. Maybe you guys did something. Oh, brown basing, done. Yeah, my back. I need beverage. Filter by faction. Thousand Suns. Sam Nash winning with Hexwarp Sectar. Hexwarp Sectar with Vic. Hexwarp. Everyone's doing it. Damn it. I knew it was going to be a good list, and I was building one. And now all I'm seeing are 4-0s, 7-0s, 4-1s, 5-0s, Hexwarp, Thrallband, Sectar. Only one page. Man. What do the lists look like, actually? Do they have them? Yeah, full-size Terminator. Sorcerer with a full-size... No. Half-size Rubric with Flamers. Another half-size Rubric with Flamers. And another Sorcerer. DP Wings. Shammy Shammy. Defiler. Sure. Sectar. Oh, yeah. Two big, one little Sectar. I could see that. Divining Spear. 3-man Divining Spears? 3-man Divining Spears and 3 Shamans. The Shamans are unattached, though. Oh, that feels so stupid. I mean, the entire power of this army rests on the Termies and the 3 squads of Sectars with the bonus for their rerolls 1s to wound or +1 to wound. And then you just have 2 of the cheapest flying units that have infantry so they can go through walls. And then 3 of the cheapest 3-man flying units to go do missions. What's Vic using? Sork with Baby Rubes. Yep, Baby Rubes. Term with Terms. Characters. So unattached, he does an Exalted Sorcerer, Ahriman. I gotta remember that. They made it so that Indirect isn't anywhere near as scary anymore for just like solo units. So there is a world where taking solo Ahri isn't a bad idea. Exalted Disc. Magnus. Gross. Rhino. Okay. Sectar. 4 big units. And yeah, everyone's using Spear Wielders for trade units and running out and doing missions. They're not using Chaos Spawn as much. Holy crap, dude. Baitcaster Great Bows. Baby squads of those. There's a 5-0 here. Strawn Robertson. Ahri for the triple uppy downy. Or not triple uppy downy, but triple redeploy. Definitely leaning into the wing DPs. I like that. Taking a Chamois, 2 spawns, a Defiler, 2 Defilers. 2 forges, a mauler, and then 1 big, 2 little sectars. I got things to think about. Let me grab my bev. I definitely like the idea of Forge Fiends. We are seeing a lot of Terminator big brick spams, and Forge Fiends basically are the greatest counter I have to that. And what's cool about them is they can be walked in off the table edge and still be effective. I was really hoping to see something other than Hex Warp Sectar. Are they saying Drakari? Yeah, Drakari's pretty big right now. Of course, Space Marines are the best still. A lot of Terminator use, like I figured. Alright, most of these should be dry. Let me just double check the big ones. Make sure that they didn't use sort of cloth strappiness. It is actually straight up metal. Yep. So these aren't going to need anything. The defiler's not going to need anything, I don't believe. What's up, Francois? Okay. And you didn't need anything? Because I decided to do flesh here instead of cloth. He doesn't have a strap here. These are going to be pipe color, the black color. No mid cloth. I think we're good. Oh. Alright, let's kick it over to flesh tones. Specifically flayed one flesh. Breen. Alright, thanks for the like. Good luck in your endeavors. Let's start getting some of this down. Because we bring it to Flayed One, and then we pull it back. We pull it back with the. Alright, I'm gonna use an actual new brush. We pull it back using Guilliman Flesh. It's kind of the whole point of what we're doing here. But yeah, so far in 11th, feeling pretty comfy with Emperor's Children. The idea I had with Hex Warp appears to actually be very popular among other competitive Thousand Sun players, so like I can feel kind of confident in it existing, and I don't know if I want to like play it at the local. Maybe I should. I should probably just start doing it, because even this last season when I was playing Hex Warp, I'd never played it against general people. So when I went to a tournament with it, I didn't exactly know perfectly how to move it around, but I still did really well. So maybe it's worthwhile, like, trying to play it. At least a few games to get ready for comp play. Keep making that mistake of, like, playing lists that aren't great into casual play and then trying to play meta and, like, lists I think are strong, but only in tournaments, so that I don't know how to play them that well. I gotta cut that out, man. Flash toning. I feel like they made the Sectar sub-detachment explicitly to try to sell Sectars, because I don't know. I feel like a lot of people saw the new Sectar robots and were just like, meh, and just moved on and like stuck with what they had. There's no way you put out the Sectar detachment knowing the Hexwarp Thrallband exists and don't expect everyone to then immediately buy out all the Sectar robots. Like, that's a thing. I feel like that is like a key reason all of that happened. Grab some glazing medium. I feel like one of the local pizza places I really enjoy going to. I feel like something bad's happening to it. I don't know if it's just them like babbling and talking, but every now and then I go there. I feel like the crew that works there, beyond like the owner and his brother, or I guess both the brother owners, they sound like they're not happy. Like they sound like they feel like they're getting like mistreated or overworked and underpaid or something. It would suck to lose this place. I've lost so many good places that I liked eating. could have swore they weathered the COVID storm. Because I was worried about them back then. They had just moved locations and were just getting started back up when COVID went through and shut everything down. I felt like crap, man. So worried about them. These past couple weeks, I just haven't seen anyone of like the owner's staff, I guess, there. It's all been like the like side chefs and stuff, side cooks. I imagine it's because of FIFA. Because they are Italian AF, and they love watching, I guess in America, soccer or football. To all you freaks out there. And I know some of it was actually played near here. So I wonder if that's what they've been doing, is just going to watch games because they haven't been able to in so long. Because it's weird when me as a person who doesn't work there knows, like, by just sitting there and listening to them talk in the kitchen, like, I know enough lore about that place where I'm like, oh no. Like, they hired like a third chef that's usually there every day. And he quit once because they were just like weren't paying him well. He took a job at like another kitchen, and then like the one other owner begged him to come back. Let me take a second and actually flesh tone these with the contrast. There it is. Because like I said, it does knock it back, which is good. these coffee stains. There we go. Originally, I was looking for my Reikland Flesh Shade to do this. I have no idea where that went. I know it's in the bin. I feel like I checked it 4 times and just couldn't find my Reikland Flesh Shade. So I decided to just say screw it and knock back these colors with Guilliman Flesh. Because it kind of does the same thing. It'll dull down the peaks a little bit. Make it a little closer to like a salmon flesh tone. And then get a lot of the red into the actual shadows. Hell yeah. Go back into it for a little bit of highlighting. So I guess the event going on at the stores right now is that you just play around and then tell the person at the store which faction you played for. I didn't expect that. Because I was just going there the other day to play just a random game. And the guy running the store came over and was like, "Which faction did you play for today?" It's like, what? What? Of what do you speak? Spoilers, I chose orcs because, yeah. Screw Space Marines, man. I imagine this is the same kind of thing that happened for Leviathan, so that if enough people say orcs, we're going to get the orc codex first. So I declare orc for my buddy and his ridiculous Beast Snaga orc army. Skin textures. I am most likely going to work on this off stream. I just wanted to pop in and actually stream, see if anybody wanted to hang out. I know my streams have basically just been dying off in terms of viewership. Weird stream hours, man. I should be streaming after 5 o'clock. That seems to be when anyone cares about this kind of stuff. But I can't. It's when I work. It's my job time. Can only stream midday. Unless it's Friday, then we can get weird with it. is the true problem of assembly line. You always miss something because you think you did it and then you set the model down only to pick it up later and be like, I didn't grab it that one time. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. Another good reason to have a wet palette, because if that occurred in a timely fashion, you should still have the pigment down. You just put it on. get dinner here in a second. So I might call the stream. Still gonna be working on these off stream. I'm probably gonna put something on. Just hang out, watch it. Man. Man, oh man. Really trying to pile through. I'm hoping by the end of the day I'll have all of the cloaks done. Because then it is just, let's get the trim in at that point. We got 2 metallics we need to work with. Trim and bolt gun. Like the brass and the bolt gun. And we just need to go. Just get through it. That's a primary. Then we move over to black for the tubes and Leviathan for the horns. It really does pull together in the end, which I like. Because the brass really puffs up the bone and green armor. It's pretty good. Although we should probably do the black for the sides first so we could do the brass after the fact. Probably going to work on the cloaks, and then I might do the basing color for these and all the Poxwalkers, because this guy and the Poxwalkers are done. So that's already 21 models complete, which is nice. Well, complete. I have to get the basing on so that I can hit them with my goop. My green goop. Slime them up. Make pulls on the basing. God, he looks cool. I'm glad he came out this way. Looks nice. I'm hungry though, so I'm gonna go get food. I'm gonna go eat. Make some of my Donner meats. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. We'll probably stream again tomorrow, most likely. Hopefully by then we're on the trim or we're finishing up the cloaks and then moving to trim. Because these are Death Guard, and there's a butt ton of trim to work on. Like, it's way too much. There's so much we're going to have to do. I kind of hate it. Just all the little parts. Might leave the toilet bowl, like, untrimmed on a lot of these. I don't know. I don't know. Till next time, though. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for chilling. Anyone in the chat. Later.